Mia Carter never thought much about ghosts. Ghosts were for late-night horror movies and campfire stories, not for real life, and certainly not for the tired, static-filled airwaves of Station 103. But one night, ghosts came looking for her, and they wouldn't leave until she listened. It was past midnight, and Mia sat alone in the station's tiny broadcast room, surrounded by dusty equipment and the low hum of the air conditioning. The red on-air sign flickered faintly above the door, barely illuminating the cramped space. It had been years since Station 103 had been relevant, years since it had any real audience beyond insomniacs, truck drivers, and lonely souls looking for a familiar voice in the dark. And Mia? She liked it that way. Solitude was her comfort, the hum of the radio her only companion. After all, she wasn't exactly the kind of person who thrived in the daylight. She liked the stillness of the night, the anonymity that came with speaking into the void, until that void started speaking back. The calls started out normal enough, people requesting songs, sharing their late-night musings, the occasional prankster. But then, at exactly 1:03 a.m., the line crackled to life with a call that sent a chill racing down Mia's spine. "Hello?" she said, leaning into the mic. A long, rasping breath filled her ears. And then, "Mia, you remember me, don't you?" Mia stiffened, a cold shiver prickling her skin. The voice was thin, distant, like it was coming from the other side of something. "Who is this?" she asked, forcing a nervous laugh. "You know, prank calls aren't really my thing." The voice on the other end chuckled softly, a sound that sent goosebumps down her arms. "You don't remember, but I do. I remember everything." Mia's hands clenched the edge of the console. "Look, if you're just here to mess with me..." "I died, Mia." The voice interrupted, hollow and filled with something that wasn't quite sadness, but something far worse, certainty. "And you never said you were sorry." Mia's mouth went dry. Her heart pounded so hard she swore the microphone would pick it up. "What are you talking about?" Her voice was a whisper now, but the line had gone dead. She pulled off her headphones and leaned back, trying to steady her breathing. It was just a prank, she told herself. Some local trying to freak her out. It wasn't real. It couldn't be real. But then the next call came, and the next. Each voice was different, but the message was always the same. They were dead, and they remembered her. The calls kept coming every night at 1:03 a.m. without fail. The voices, some male, some female, some whispering, some sobbing, spoke of things Mia had buried deep inside herself. A friend she betrayed in high school, an ex-boyfriend she ghosted after things got too serious, a neighbor she'd ignored when she should have helped. They all wanted something. At first she tried to ignore them, but the station itself began to change. The lights flickered, the equipment crackled with static, and sometimes, when she was alone, she swore she could hear voices whispering beneath the music. One night, desperate for answers, she dug through the station's archives and found something chilling. An old recording dated back to 1987. Another late-night DJ had vanished without a trace, right in the middle of his shift. His last words? "They're coming for me." Mia's stomach churned as she pressed play. The recording was filled with static and a faint, distorted voice. "I thought I could outrun it, but the past always finds a way back. I deserve this. We all do." She slammed the laptop shut, heart racing. Whatever was happening to her, it had happened before, and she was running out of time. Mia knew she couldn't face this alone. She reached out to the one person she'd hoped never to speak to again, David, her ex-boyfriend. He answered on the third ring, his voice groggy and confused. "Mia?" He sounded cautious. "It's been years." "I know," she whispered. I need your help." David hesitated, but finally agreed to meet her at the station. When he arrived, his expression darkened the moment he stepped inside. "Mia, this place feels wrong." She nodded. "I've been getting calls, David, from people who shouldn't be able to call." He gave her a look of disbelief, but when the clock hit 1:03 a.m. and the phone rang, his face paled. Mia answered, her voice trembling. "Hello?" "Mia." A soft, familiar voice murmured. It was Lisa, her best friend from college, the friend she abandoned when she needed her the most. "You left me," the voice accused. "You never came back." Tears welled in Mia's eyes. I was scared. I didn't know how to help you. Lisa's voice cracked. It's too late for me now, but it's not too late for you. The call ended abruptly. Mia sat frozen, the weight of guilt pressing down on her chest like a heavy stone. David squeezed her hand, pulling her back. You need to do something, Mia, before it's too late. The following night, Mia made a choice. She went on air and bared her soul to the listeners, hoping that whoever, or whatever, was listening would hear her. I've made mistakes, she said, her voice raw with emotion. I hurt people, and I never made it right. If you're listening, if you need to hear it, I'm sorry for everything. For a long moment, there was silence. Then, one by one, the lights in the studio began to flicker back to life. The static cleared. The air felt lighter. And then the phone rang one last time. Mia swallowed hard and answered. Hello? A voice, soft and familiar, whispered back. You're free now, Mia. Don't waste it. And just like that, the line went dead. Mia left station 103 the next morning. She didn't look back. The radio station shut down a week later. Its final broadcast a whispered apology and a warning to those who might listen in the dark. Some say the frequency still lingers, that if you tune in just right, you might hear Mia's voice on the wind, forever haunted by the ghosts she left behind. But Mia? She walked away with the weight of the past lifted, knowing that sometimes the only way to silence the ghosts is to face them, and never ever ignore the voices in the dark.